Joe, just starting with the injuries to Bobby B and Will Skelton. How close were they to playing this weekend?
Right on the edge, to be honest. If it was the last game of the series, I think they would have been in the mix. But the risk you take if you put those guys out there and they're not quite ready and you try to push them through, you might end up worse off. So, I wouldn't say we've taken a long-term view with them, but we just felt it was the most judicious decision at the time.
No way to sugarcoat it, I guess. Rob in particular has been the Wallabies' best over the last 2 years. It's a big loss.
Yeah, it's funny. You put a training team together and all the boys are looking, am I on Bobby's team? Just to see if they've got a better chance of starting, because Bobby has been a very regular starter for us and a big player for us. So I guess that those are the things that do happen. I thought Lynagh went well against the Fijians. Again, Lynagh, he was on the cusp as well. He's just got a little bit of a cork, and so it's a great opportunity for Nick Champion de Crepney, who's trained well, had a good Super Rugby season, and is very excited about the opportunity he has.
Yeah, what would his job description be?
That big shoes to fill. The good thing with Nick, he's a good line-out option. I thought he was very good in the force line-out. He is probably a bit more of a roving scavenger than Bobby V, who's in the past has been a big ball carrier for us, and so he'll complement Fraser in that respect. And it probably puts a little bit more onus on Harry Wilson to fulfil the ball carry kind of role. And at the same time, I do think that Fraser and Nick can help me out with that, and with Carlo coming off the bench, Tom Hooper off the bench, they're another couple of guys who carry really well for us.
You mentioned the ball carrier role. What was the thinking behind starting with Slips instead of Belly?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think Slips has had a really good season, and I do think that we're going to need something off the bench for sure, and Belly, I think he will give us real energy and real bite off the bench. So if he fulfills that role this week, it may not be the same next week. I do think we've got two guys who can fill that number 1 jersey really well.
Joe, what about Tom Lynagh? Big call there at 10. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Tom. He's a great kid. He's got a quiet confidence about him. You wouldn't think that he's necessarily designed to run a game and dictate what's happening, but he does have a quiet confidence that gives us a quiet confidence as well. And he's fitted in really well this week. He has given us the confidence and the players the confidence that he's going to run the game really well for us. Kicking game is strong. He's got good acceleration, and he's incredibly brave, to a fault.
Is that last part, was that a tipping point for you? Do you want a 10 who plays on the line?
No, it's Suncorp, it's his home track, it's a fantastic opportunity for him, and we twice had him lined up for his first start for the Wallabies last year, and he picked up little niggles, so it's great this time. Probably not ideal to be starting your first Test match for the Wallabies against the British and Irish Lions, but it's you've got to start somewhere, and if not now, when? So now's good.
Just in general, you've had losses in a couple of key positions to key men. How has it thrown your planning for this week? Has it rattled you and the team?
I'd be pretty pragmatic about that, and I think I'd hope that the team are as well. We try not to base our whole game around any individual. That we share the load, we share the excitement of the opportunity, and I think those things are still shared across the group, and they're excited about the opportunity. So I'd like to think that we can still go out, probably sharing Tom Lynagh's quiet confidence that we can put a game together that at least can keep the British and Irish Lions pretty honest on the day.
Joe, just on Nick's selection, can you give a sense of like where he was on your radar when he came back from France and sort of, I guess, how far he's gone up the pecking order since then?
Yeah, we certainly knew a fair bit about Nick. I keep an eye on the top 14, having coached in it many years ago. Obviously, Nick was playing for Cast, and they'd been a high-performing team in the top 14. And so when he decided to come back, he was immediately on the radar, not necessarily right in the middle of it, but he was on the periphery of it. And then he tended to just get a little bit closer as the Super Rugby season wound on. As I said, he's got a good profile in the air. He's quick in the air. He is really consistent around his tackle and tackle recovery, and really consistent around his ball carry and his support play. So he's a good package for us, we think, and we're excited that he's going to get an opportunity.
Tom Lynagh, how confident are you that the occasion won't be too big for him?
Yeah, look, I'm confident in him, and I guess that's part of it. It's a stadium he knows really well. It's a piece of grass that he's been on and been across many times. So I think that will just help him settle into his game, and if he can settle early, hopefully he can get a rhythm that allows him to dictate the game to a degree. We know there's going to be times where we're not going to be in enough control to dictate the game, but as I said, he's very brave defensively, very competent in the air. So whatever does get thrown at Tom, I am confident that he'll cope, and I'm very confident that he'll learn from the occasion. And it may be that he has to learn quickly because of the magnitude of the game and the quality of the opposition.
Was there temptation to support Tom with Tate as a starter, or have you seen enough with the combination with Joe?
Yeah, that again is a really good question, just because of the relationship they've had through Super Rugby. But again with Jake, he gives us a little bit more experience around the back of our scrum and around the edge of our line out, and so it was it was a complicated decision and quite a narrow one. But we just feel when a player returns from injury, to have them warm up, sit on the bench, and then go out there, they can be just a little bit more susceptible to being a little bit cold and then susceptible to injury. We just thought that would be the best flow for him, and Tate, he does really well at the back end of games. Some of the games he played the back end of last year, he was really impressive for us. It doesn't mean he can't start, and obviously he started last game against Fiji.
I'm sure you remember Michael Lynagh pretty well. Has Tom inherited some of his old man's qualities, and have you spoken to Michael at all about Tom's development?
I haven't spoken to him about Tom. I've known Michael for a while, and we've sort of spoken about footy in general, but I think when we were speaking, Tom might have been 14, 13. He certainly wasn't looking like he was going to be in an Irish jersey at that stage. So it was quite some time ago. But I always felt that Michael had a real quiet control of games and a calmness about the way that he ran the game, and I do think there's a bit of that in Tom. And so I guess it's always the same when you haven't seen someone at the level and they haven't been put under the pressure that's going to come, then you're not quite sure how things are going to work out. But I have real confidence in Tom, and I'm sure Michael does as well.
Tom's actually spoken about he doesn't do a huge amount of goal kicking practice, which is a bit surprising. He's just a natural ball striker, is he?
Yeah, we're making him practice enough, I think. He might have that idea, but no, he is a natural striker of the ball. And, because I've got massive pins myself, I can say those skinny pins of his can hit the ball a decent distance. He's got a nice long kick out of his hand, and his goal kicking range is good as well. So, again, there's a confidence around what he can deliver if he's going to be kicking for posts.
Joe, is there any review needed about a couple of soft tissue injuries there in camp and that sort of thing to make sure it's not going to happen again?
No, not really. There's a couple. There's those two guys. We did train in some pretty wet conditions, and the ground got pretty sticky, and that might have contributed to them. We've had a really good record of very few soft tissue injuries, so I don't think we suddenly will start to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think we try to balance our load, get our recovery in, and even we monitor load really closely. So if someone is having a sudden spike, we might just pull them from training a little bit early and put someone in their place. And as I say, Will didn't report anything during the training. He completed the training and then was just felt it a little bit the next morning, and then we just decided to be conservative. And Bobby V, his again was right at the end of the session when he wasn't actually moving very fast. Not by his standards anyway. Probably by mine, he was going quite quickly. But
Do you expect those blokes to be right for next week? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I do. Yep. Those two and Lynagh as well. They'll all do a session on Saturday that will include max velocity, change of direction, a little bit of contact. That will be a controlled game simulation so that they can be ticked off and cleared for training in the Melbourne week.
Joe, Israel Folau did something pretty special here 12 years ago. Is there a sense that Joseph Suaalii can replicate that on Saturday night?
Yeah, I've watched that replay a few times. I'd love to see that. I think Joe is still bedding himself in a little bit, still finding his feet. But he's a very, very good athlete. And if athletes like that can be brought into the game, and obviously we'd love to get him in the game early, then whether he creates something special or one of the things I thought he did really well when he first came in and played his first test match is he facilitated opportunity for others as well. And I think that's the mark of an unselfish player, but also a player who is able to athletically contribute individually, but also complement teammates around him.
Joe, when you consider the profile of the Lions team, or what you expect, what will be the pillars that your team needs to nail to win this?
I think they're the pillars that are always paramount in a test match. I don't think you can go too far past set piece. We've had a really good scrum week, and so that will be a great starting point if we're really good at scrum time, line out time. I think that's a great starting point. And then there's a lot being said and written around the breakdown and the aerial battle. I think post Argentina, it's an area where the Lions have really focused on improving, and they've done a very good job of improving in those areas. They've got a fantastic coaching staff that will see the game clearly and have some clear targets that they need their players to be focused upon, and I think they're built pretty well so far through the tour, which I'd rather wasn't the case.
When you look back at the last year, your team, what are the games or maybe even moments that give you confidence that they're going to get to the pitch on Saturday night?
Yeah, some of those moments, Murray, are away from the games. The conversations that I see them having and the confidence they're giving each other. some of the trainings that we've had where, they just seem to appreciate where they need to be and some of the skill execution in training. Obviously, the skill execution wasn't great against Fiji, but hopefully there's a few things that have been ironed out and we can be a little bit more cohesive and accurate, because we're going to have to be. We know that. The British and Irish Lions are a lot different from playing Fiji, as much of a challenge as Fiji are.
Joe, what do you make of the chat coming out of the Lions camp that they're targeting a 3-0 whitewash and want to prove themselves to be the best Lions team ever against you guys?
Oh, Marty hasn't sent me that one. I only know the ones that Marty sends me. But look, I've no doubt you don't go into a series trying not to win at 3-0. So I guess it's a natural target for them. But I know Andy Farrell well enough to know that he won't be talking about 3-0. He'll be talking about, let's get this training right, let's get this captain's run right, let's get the start of the game right, and that they'll be focused on this test alone, not Melbourne or Sydney, I don't think.
Joe, he's absolutely packed his backroom team with people who've worked with you, going back to David Sephora, almost at the very start. Is it harder to stay ahead when you're up against an opposition with coaches, an entire coaching staff who works with you?
Roy, I'm not sure I ever got ahead in the first place. I do. I've got massive respect for those guys. They're a super coaching crew. Andrew Goodman, I brought him across to Leinster, and he already had a really good head for the game. Simon Easterby worked with for so long. Faz, obviously, even in terms of analytics, Vinnie Hammond there, he's a superb analyst, and I've no doubt he's analysed anything that we've done so far. So, across the board, they've got a great coaching crew. Had a really good chat with Richard Wigglesworth, who I've never worked with, after we played England last year, and again, he just seemed to have a really good handle on the game and unpicked us pretty well, and I've no doubt that they will have their players really well prepared, and that's part of the challenge. What I can't control, I wouldn't try to overly focus on. I think for us, we've had one test match, we've got 15 this year. We go from the Lions test, 6 days later we leave to play a test on the High Veld in Joburg, so we thought we'd ease our way into the year, and that's the magnitude of it, really. But I'm looking forward to seeing those guys and catching up with them. I've caught up with them, a number of times in Dublin over the last few years.
Joe, you mentioned the press clippings Marty would be giving you. Do you feel the general commentary around this game has given your team the respect it deserves?
Again, with Marty as my censor, it's been so busy just trying to get organised. I'm not sure how much respect we've been shown. But what I would say is that that we've been working hard. And the respect we're going to try to earn is from our supporters, those people who turn up to support us. We're going to try to demonstrate to them that their support is hugely appreciated by us, and that we're doing everything we can to earn it by the effort we make during that 80 minutes that we'll be judged upon.
Last comment, please.
Joe, and Harry Wilson, what have you seen from him over the last sort of 12 months or so that made you stick with him as captain for the series?
Yeah, I think with Wilso he just loves representing Australia. I think he's been quite outspoken about. He just loves any Australian team. Big fan of the cricket, obviously, and I just love the enthusiasm he has for the gold jersey and for leading himself well, And anyone who leads themselves really well and prepares themselves well, commits to what they believe needs to be done for the team, I think there's leadership in that. He doesn't say a lot, Harry, but what he does do well is he demonstrates well rather than speaking well. I'm not saying he can't speak, but he's out of breath a lot of the time.
Joe, Brisbane has become synonymous with Lions tours in recent times. How important is it that Saturday evening doesn't feel like a home game for the British and Irish Lions? And does it have to come from the team that drives the Aussie supporters, or is it you need the supporters to help drive the team?
Yeah, it's that reciprocal relationship, isn't it? I don't know which is the cart and which is the horse, but we need each other. We need that support to feel valued playing in front of a home crowd. But we also know that, in recent times, perhaps we haven't earned that support, and so people tend to not be so, vocal in their support of the team. So we've felt a little bit of a shift. Even in Newcastle, it was refreshing to get people in the street saying, "Oh, can't wait for the game on Sunday," or "Can't wait for the Lions series," and even here in Brisbane, in town, a guy came up to me the other day and said, "We are 100% behind you." Now, it was Brad Thorne, but it's great to have his support, I did wonder if he had his boots, but I do think that there's just a little bit of a groundswell of support, and the players are really conscious. You need to earn that every time you lace up and go out in front of the crowd. So they're conscious of that without being distracted by it, I'm hoping.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.